It being 7:01, I'll call the select board meeting for Wednesday, September 3rd, 2025. Over. First up is the Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Next on the agenda is public comment. Is anyone here for public comment?
Because you don't hear from me enough. And I think I'm sure I remember to send this to you after last time. I just wanted to, sorry, the business Marie Letarte, library director. I know once most here is just to give you an update on the progress of the library project. And this is just upcoming dates of importance. I know a lot of people, most people probably work, and so September 4th at 10:30 is a tough time for a tour. But there's a 6 p.m. at September 11th and a 12 p.m. September 13th. And the architect will be at the Friends of the Library booth on Saturday to show sort of the possibility with the two alternate sites and give people an opportunity to weigh in and give their opinion. We had a very successful, albeit small, intimate session at the Senior Center today.
Great. Okay, Saturday, it would be Old Home Day.
Saturday is Old Home Day, yes. So it will be at Old Home Day that they will have a booth and architect will be at the booth.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have a joint meeting with the Library Board of Trustees, but we are going to
She's looking at 7:15.
Okay.
She's at the field now.
go out of order until we have enough members to have a quorum for the library board.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to move out of order.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next up, we have downtown coordinator Lee Abdella with update on the Halloween.
Good evening. Do I reintroduce myself?
Yeah, I
You just
would.
introduced me.
I know.
There you go. Good to see everybody. Just here for a perfunctory high sign from everyone for the street closure for High Street for Halloween walk. The only thing really of note is that we are going to change the date of Halloween walk. Traditionally, it's been on the Thursday before Halloween, but because Halloween's on a Friday and we don't want young children out 2 nights in a row, and also because it's my understanding that the football team will have its last home game, which is also senior night on that Thursday, we're going to slide it to Wednesday night. And in a nice turn, working with Coach Ogilvy, he is going to supply us with some of the varsity players to help as volunteers for Halloween walk this year, which is wonderful. We appreciate that. So just as it has been for the last couple of years, requesting to close the street, the full length from Water over to Union, working with the DPW and fire and police as always. Everyone's great. And obviously, key is collaborating with the chamber to fundraise to help offset the cost of the candy, which obviously gets a bit steeper each year. So that's what I'm here for. So I'm requesting for the street to be closed from 5 to 8:30. The event would be 6 to 8 as it traditionally is. So Alex allows us for some time to clear the street and get people on and off where they need to be.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to.
Wednesday?
Wednesday.
the
Yeah, so once you guys we'll put out the bat signal to everybody to let folks know.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the road closure request for Wednesday, October 29th from 5 to 8:30 p.m.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 5-0.
Right,
Okay.
let Halloween begin. Thank you.
Thank you.
You.
Next up, we have Community and Economic Development Director Phil Duffy on an update on 229 High Street and 172 Starch.
Sure, if you'd like. Good evening, Madam Chairman, members of the board. With me is Lee, who's been helping out with the 329 High Street RFP. Come here to give you an update on projects that we've discussed in the past and to fess up that we are behind schedule, but to propose a schedule for getting back on track and certainly with Gene's Towing, getting that out the door within a relatively short period of time. We're going to talk about two different projects. With Gene's Towing, the work was completed. The final paperwork was submitted to the DEP in December of 24. Just to recapitulate, we've done a lot of work on that property, which was a contaminated property, and it now is on the master contingency plan as a closed project. No conditions. So there's not even an obligation to monitor the site, to continue to monitor indoor air quality or groundwater or soil gas. So that's all great news. We've been going over the materials. Lee did a draft of the first materials, and I was kind of took it upon myself to try to understand the legal requirements and best practices for this kind of disposition. We've never, to the best of my knowledge, done one before. Disposed of a property. If we've disposed of a property by RFP, it's been a while. If we're just, I don't know if we've ever disposed of a property taken by tax title or RFP. But subject to Bob's review and his firm's review, I think we have a pretty good understanding of where we need to be and have included all the paperwork and disclosures, certifications in the RFP that need to be required. We got our vote from town meeting a few years ago to authorize the RFP. The one outstanding area in terms of technical interpretation is the law requires that prior to issuing the RFP, we establish the current fair market value. And how that is done, the state law is not specific. It says by whatever is the best practice of the appraisal industry at the time. Mass Development's guidance says that it can be something as simple as it can in certain instances be just your municipal assessment. But speaking with the assessor, I think we can work with not an appraiser, but with some brokers, kind of get like a market snapshot of the value of that property. It's likely that we'll be selling it for less than the market value. And if so, we will need to write out a certification as to why and publish an assessment. But in terms of timelines, what I'd like to propose to you is that by Friday next, I will have submitted a draft of the RFP for your packet and to town council for review, along with the commentary, kind of pointing out certain things in the RFP, why I'm proposing what I'm proposing. But ultimately, your board will have to sign off on certain critical aspects of the RFP. These have to do with what are our evaluation criteria? How are we going to evaluate these? You may recall in the past, we've talked about 4 evaluation criteria.
Phil, can you just, I mean, I don't think I have bad hearing, but could you just speak a little bit louder?
Are the microphones working tonight? I feel like I can't even hear you guys either.
Well,
I don't know if they work.
These are for
I don't think-
broadcast.
Yeah, they don't like project. They just put it on the
Yeah.
back end.
yeah, they don't project and neither do I, so
Yeah.
I'm sorry for that.
Yeah.
So
Kids yelling.
in this draft of the RFP, which I'll have in your packet for your next meeting, there'll be some commentary pointing out things that are especially want you to consider. These will have to do with the evaluation criteria. What are we going to be looking at and evaluating as we rank these responses? We've always talked about there being 4. One is what is being proposed. The most important one in my mind, but for you guys to decide, is the preparedness of the respondent to do what he says, that he has adequate resources to purchase the property, undertake any improvements, and experience in the use that he or she is proposing. So what is it? Can you do it? What are you doing to the property to otherwise improve it and beautify it?
That's 3.
And then the 4th is plus.
I did,
What was it?
Madam-
Preparedness of the party?
Yeah,
viewing Price?
Sure, yes. The preparedness of the respondent to undertake the proposed the work that's described in the response. And that is the business and the improvements to the property.
That's gotta stay open.
No,
It says they don't have to stay open.
No, that has to stay open. Phil, Madam Chairman, I just have a question. I know that, it's gotta be 2 years ago now that we had mass development do they came back with 3 different
Yes,
impressions of what they thought could be used and how it could be used on that property or what we could do with it. And I'm just, in your presentation that you intend to give to us, have you gone back to that and looked at that? Or is this going to be something completely different than what?
Mary, this is actually, we're talking about 329 High Street.
Oh, I thought you was on 178.
No. So we're talking about 329. I apologize.
Oh,
If I
okay.
wasn't clear. So look at the evaluation criteria. To look at what process, once we've made a decision, what process are we going to follow in notifying the preferred respondent? And while I use the term negotiation, because we can't really negotiate, what is going to be the process to get us to the finish line of an agreement? You know, are we going to put that up front, say that what you got to do is you have 45 days to give us a check? Or do we want to allow for some discussion of terms in terms of how we convey the property and how we call it?
Thank you.
Sure. And then Supernaut, that project is also behind.
Sorry,
There's
just so we're clear, 172 Sterling Street. I know that it's colloquial, the
Yeah.
names of them, but I don't know like some of these, we've talked about it, but for everybody at home. 172 Sterling Street is formerly a Supernaut
Yes.
business. That was the previous. And that has been demolished. So now we're talking about that site.
So we're still in the process of selecting the qualified environmental professional for that project. And when that person is on board, we will have an understanding after a process of what the scope of remaining remediation is going to be on that site. That's something, even if it's not completed, that we will want to know before we issue the RFP. Even before then, though, just in terms of doing some of the research, we have some legwork to do in terms of preparing to convey that property. There are deficiencies in the deed that need to be corrected. That's legal work. Effectively, the meets and bounds description no longer describes the current property that we own. Some of it was subdivided out. That's also in the activity and use limitation, which is not a legal document, but is a regulatory document. And there's also a language that's required by Mass DEP, making reference to the activity and use limitation that somehow fell out of the deed when it went from one party to another during the time after Superman. And so that has to go back in there when it is recorded. I'm also going to make a couple of recommendations to this board for your consideration, not for action tonight. But as I was discussing earlier, the methodology for establishing the current fair market value, that property is more complex, and we may be well served by hiring an appraiser, to undertake that work rather than just a kind of market comp assessment of value that you would get from lighting treatment for a broker. And you may also want to consider forming a committee for the purpose of figuring out finally how we want to dispose of this property and how we're going to prioritize our community's desires and express those to any respondents. I'm capable of doing the writing, but I honestly feel that this process may be well served by opening it up to a greater number of people in the community. There are more variables in this property, and in terms of how we weight them, I think we should. I'd actually consider appointing a committee to work that through and shepherd that through as we develop the terms of the RFP that are decisive in telling prospective buyers what we're doing.
Madam Chairman?
Yeah.
Are you, I guess I would go back. And again, as I said before, I thought we were talking on 172. And we did pay Mass Development to do the imaging of. So, I mean, is there any way that we are going to incorporate that when we're looking to develop that property?
Yes, we will include that in the attachments to the RFP. But what that was an exercise in kind of physical layout
Oh, yeah.
to kind
yeah.
of see if we know that we can't afford to clean the whole thing up. How can we deploy buildings and parking around the site to kind of avoid the worst parts and the greatest costs associated with cleanup? You know, put the buildings where it's clean and pave over where it's not clean. And that was just an exercise to see what kind of yield you could get on a site of that size if you were working around that, based on the parking requirement, based on, you know, the zoning.
Mhm.
And so they looked at 3 different scenarios. But the other questions we need to ask are, how important is price going to be in our evaluation of proposals? And when we began this process, we were evaluating the bias towards manufacturing. Do we still have that bias towards manufacturing, or are we more open to, how do we define a good job? Is that still something that as a community we see as the highest and best use of that property as a jobs accommodating property within our community? These are the things that we talked about a while ago, and talked about with multiple boards. But now that now it's time to cut bait. Quite frankly, I feel more comfortable if this process were being informed by more people than primarily me. It's been me bringing these ideas and to multiple boards, but I think we should open up for more ideas, more perspectives, and more expertise, quite frankly.
Just to follow up on the legal with the deed and everything. Do you think that that's going to be is that going to slow this process up for any length of time, or is it something that you feel
No,
we can resolve it fairly quickly?
Okay, with Bob and describe what those efficiencies are. And for instance, whether or not whether we need to bring on a surveyor to confirm the meets and bounds, or whether we can use the subdivision plan from 2009 to figure out what the new boundary. It shouldn't necessarily. We're still in a waiting mode while we develop the final environmental scope. So if we were to do these things in the next 2 months, that wouldn't slow us up.
Well, that's what I mean, we're not talking like a year out. It's,
Yeah.
No.
we're talking like maybe a couple of months before we can get everything all in place.
It really depends on what the remaining cleanup procedures to be undertaken. On developing that scope of work, I think we'd want to inform people of what is being proposed in that last segment of work, which will probably be slated for spring construction, to ensure that we're making the best and most accurate representation of the property as we know it.
Yeah, because I know that when we had the pile taken out, we had extra money and we were allowed to keep it
Yep.
to do additional workup of the site.
Yep.
And has that progressed or?
It's progressed slowly, and that's due to me. It's just,
I'm sorry?
it has progressed slowly, and that's been primarily due to I've been slow to get it out.
You mean to contract it out for bid?
Yes.
Okay.
So there is a plan to remediate it,
Yes.
continued,
Yes.
and then after that, it will be tested again, or?
Yeah, as part of the process, there's usually post-remediation sampling, but that's part of the process. They do the work and then they test, they do pre-construction, pre-remediation, post-remediation sampling, and then they do your report.
Mhm. So mediation deed. DEP language that dropped out of the deed. And then possibly committee pick that up.
Yes, and soliciting some proposals from appraisers, just to understand what the cost would be for to do a fair market play.
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
Where would you rank this in terms of priority on your scope of tasks?
Superdome?
Both of them.
That's a good question. To be honest with you, the highest priorities have been the priorities of the day. We have a number of projects going on. It feels like it's constantly this.
What do you think it is?
I would say Superman is probably one of the most important projects we have on the horizon. Jeans, quite frankly, we've had some discussions with Best Development. We're very interested to see what we get for responses. Jeans is, what's the kind of word? It's a small project that can have an outsized impact, visually and in terms of how people feel. But Supernaut will be a bigger and potentially more impactful project.
You know, both of these areas take away from everything that you've progressed towards, right? So the downtown renovation, and it just seems like this has been going on for, at this point, I think as long as I've been on the select board, I'm approaching 6 years. And I understand that there's a ton that went into it as far as the cleaning. I mean, anything that is within your control, it has to be prioritized, right? And I appreciate that you're forthcoming. But you drive through Sterling Street and it's post-apocalyptic looking in that neighborhood, right? I think it's a great opportunity for the town. You've discussed many different options and proposals of what it could be. And I think it's time that let's close this out.
I hear you loud and clear. I hear you loud and clear.
I mean, I honestly see that as a potential of really some serious tax revenue.
Mhm.
I mean, I would love to see that developed, commercially. And I think that, I know that at one point I did speak to someone that was working for Mass Development that, there was an interested party that, I mean, I'm talking about high scale jobs and, so I mean, that's where I envision that we could get something beautiful over there that would really be a plus for the town, bring good paying jobs in and get rid of that eyesore that's been sitting there for 20 years. So, I mean, so I would say I would call that a top priority to get that.
I would agree. I think even High Street, as small
Yeah, definitely.
as a
Yeah.
parcel as it is, when you're pulling on, it's hard to overlook. It's hard to overlook, plain and simple.
I hear you loud and clear. I hear you loud and clear.
So maybe when the draft comes along, maybe we can set a time frame for us to get back to you and try to set some benchmarking timeframes to try to. Also, like you said, you have other projects that are keeping you busy. I don't know what those are, but off the top of my head, so I don't want to kind of force that. But I think similar to what Matt just said, I think outside of the Strand, that's probably the question we get the most is what's going on across from Sterling Street. So I guess the success of that business has put a giant spotlight on that one too. So certainly push us in the direction that you need to go to whatever you need from us to move forward.
Sure.
Mhm.
Would it be possible to, as far as coinciding with what you're going to provide to us for the next meeting, coming up with a list of potential appointments to serve on this subcommittee as far as a makeup, and even if it's a matter of posting it and getting names so we can get this thing pushing forward, because I just don't want to get to the point where each action item is kind of like we're doing one at a time, right? We can work kind of simultaneously to get everything that we need to do that we can do. And then as far as if there's things that are outside the town's control or outside your control, then we're at the mercy of it. But at least everything we can do to get everything lined up.
Yes.
Let's make it happen.
Okay. I thank you for your feedback, sir. I thank you for your feedback.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Right.
Yes.
Are we good with the forum? Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up, we'll have a joint meeting with the Bigelow Library Board of Trustees for a vacancy. I know.
We come forward and introduce ourselves individually as well on the record.
Just go to the table.
Yeah, normally you have like a bigger table, but
Well, we do it because it's already that, so we can't. you want to-
yeah, if everyone can just drag their chairs over the table, that would be great. Two already there. I need three.
And obviously, we have Maria, our fearless leader.
Yes.
And, so thank you for your time. My name is Gloria Parkinson, 90 Haskell Avenue. I am the current chair of the Board of Library Trustees.
My name is Jacob Evans. I live at 433 Boxwood Lane, and I am a library trustee elected this year.
Jill Ashton, 86 Orange Street, library trustee.
Francisco Ramos, 12 Martin Street, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees.
Maria Lazar, back at same time, library director.
And thank you very much for your time tonight. We appreciate it. We would like to say we do have the candidate. She is here. She would answer questions if you wish to ask her questions too. Just to kick it off, the board has discussed this candidacy in detail, and we know that the candidate has been trying for more than a year to become a library trustee. She is also a member of the Friends of the Bigelow Free Public Library. She is very well versed on the business of the Board of Trustees. She is completely up to date with the Town of Clinton's library grant, the Massachusetts Board and the Commissioners. So we discussed, and we unanimously at our meeting last week, we recommend her candidacy to join us of the board for now until the next election in June.
Do we typically jointly vote or?
Yeah, every member would have a vote. So a motion would be put out and seconded and then go around and everybody would have a vote.
Okay. Is it like a yay or nay, or is it a roll call vote?
It's a whole.
Roll call vote, okay, thank you.
So, does the select board make the motion or is it the?
I think anyone can.
All right, Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation by the Bigelow Public Library Board of Trustees to appoint Christina Gagliardi. Oh, say it one more time. Gagliardi, silent G? Silent G. All right, I didn't know that existed. All right, Gagliardi, so Christina Gagliardi to the current vacancy on the Board of Trustees.
Second.
Bill Conley, aye.
Sean Kerrigan, aye.
Julie Bruce, aye.
Matt Kobesai.
Mary Dick, aye.
Jill Ashton, aye.
Jacob Evans, aye.
Gloria Parkinson, aye.
Francisco Ramos, aye.
Great,
Congratulations.
thank you very much. Thank you for serving the town of Clinton.
For licenses.
Yeah. So next we have the annual livery license renewal. That's a hearing or not?
No, just the,
Just a vote?
yeah, just a motion and approval to vote for a renewal. Yep.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the annual livery license for Jacqueline Salisbury doing business as Clinton Livery at 637 High Street in Clinton.
Second.
I'm sorry. Great. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 5-0. Okay, next up is the town administrator's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a few items I wanted to share with the board. Just wanted to bring up for the board and to the public, just to talk a little bit about the West Nile virus again. I know we did have the Board of Health notification that there was a positive test here in Clinton. We did do a spraying with the Central Mass Mosquito Control Program in the affected areas, so that has been completed. The Department of Public Health did announce that a second human case of West Nile virus was confirmed. So we just want to try to remind people as they're going out at night to try to keep protected from any mosquito bites if they can. So, we did do an all call and notice on the website. So hopefully people will be taking precautions.
Michael,
Yeah.
do they just spray, what's their protocol? Do they spray once or is it?
Yeah, I think this was going to be their last spray of the season, and,
Okay.
and unless something happens again, they'll come out again. So the list of streets that we did advertise, those are the neighborhoods that they go in, and they're going to be done until next season again.
Okay, thank you.
The next item, just to let the board know, we did hear that the Attorney General's office to approve the 2 warrant articles from town meeting. They were just the 2 floodplain articles that were passed by town meeting, and they do amend the town bylaw, so they did need a review by Attorney General, Municipal Division, and those have been finalized. Just speaking with Superintendent of Public Works, the paving is continuing. They'll be back out again next week to try to finish up the streets that they had on for this season. Also, the town moderator had provided notice to me that Larry Crosman had been appointed to the Permanent Building Committee to serve on construction projects over $50,000 here in town. We want to thank Tim O'Toole, who spent many years serving on that committee as well during the one of the first people to get appointed and getting that committee up and running. So we appreciate that. And thank you to Larry Crosman for stepping up.
Madam Chair, what's the appointment process on that?
That's the town moderator. It's the appointment.
Wow.
According to bylaw.
Thanks.
What about, so permanent building committee and the
finance
finance
And
committee?
finance committee, right. Just a couple of dates just to put a reminder in for the public as well. The middle school groundbreaking ceremony will be this Friday, September 5th at 11 a.m. at the site. And I think the library director may have mentioned as well, the library public forum to review some design considerations for library project will be September 16th at 7 p.m. here in this room at Town Hall. And the final item that I just wanted to put on the board's radar, we'll be bringing more information at a future meeting. We did just get notice that we have another round of opioid settlement funds that the town will be getting. So once all that comes in and gets settled, we did have one round, a small amount that came in over the past year or two, I think that we had gotten in. And now we just got a second round. It's over several year disbursement, I think a 5-year disbursement. But now I'll get a balance from the accountant and treasurer as to where that stands. But I would like to, with the board's permission, maybe put a recommendation to the board for maybe a task force to review how to use that money. It can only be used for opioid type issues for education or treatment or something to try to combat that problem. But I know the Board of Health is interested, the fire department, police department, that all kind of deal with that issue in their departments and in their calls for service. That they would like to kind of have some ideas. There are organizations out there too that have been reaching out to communities that provide opioid treatment services. The Sheriff's Department has one, and a couple other nonprofits. They would like, donation of funds and trying to get towns to kind of fund their programs as well too. So we just want to at least get, now that some decent money is coming in, and like I said, I'll get the balance for the board for the next meeting. just to see that we're looking at how to spend the money, just showing that we were part of that national opioid litigation. And we just want to, want to show that there is a need and there is uses that we can have for that money. So, and thank town council for all the work that he's been doing on that. It's a lot. There are big firms that are handling this, but it's a lot to track and paperwork and different filings that we have to do. So I thank Mr. Gibbons for that as well too. So we'll probably have more information at next meeting for the board to have on the agenda. So.
Just to, Chairman, just as a thought, I mean, I would, instead of, I'm not saying non-profits aren't good, but where there has been, obviously, there are departments, Board of Health, Police and Fire, I would love to see some kind of coordination within our own town departments to come up with something. I think they're all very capable of doing it and capable people to do it. That's what I would love to see, the direction for the town. I mean, again, obviously solicitor would know from the legal perspective, but
Yeah, what the criteria
Yeah,
would be of
yeah.
how it can be spent. Yeah.
How much money are we talking? I know you don't like ballpark.
I don't know, over the course of the 5 years.
Ish.
It's more than 6 figures.
A couple $100,000.
And there's some of these, there's additional settlements going on because, there's a lot of different manufacturers, a lot of different viruses involved. So there's some more settlements we're gonna be signing up for. Just for the board to back up, we opted into this national consortium back several years ago. And there are more settlements that are gonna take place over the next several months. And then the way these settlements function is that the money's paid out over years. So some of these, they're all different settlements, but so we're gonna track it all. The money comes in periodically, Mr. Ward said, it's gonna continue to come in. But we don't have a handle on exactly what's gonna come in yet, because some of these settlements haven't happened. And then the payments are all different schemes, but the money does, once the settlements are signed, the money will eventually come in. Yeah, we probably have what we're doing. It's gonna be a couple hundred.
Yeah, a couple $100,000. And back, as Mr. Gibbons said, back several years ago, the law committee had voted to opt into it, but it's all governed. It passes through to the state, and there are reporting requirements as to how it's going to be spent and all that. It's almost kind of like another ARPA type situation, but nowhere near the amount of money. But it's all governed through state agencies as well. So.
well, it certainly is a serious problem, so.
Yeah.
So this is the second wave, you said? Did you say it was the second wave coming in?
Yeah, that it was just announced that there was another payment on this cycle payment that came in. And it's just, there might be one settlement of 15,000, another settlement of 20. And, there's different ones that come in, little one each year, and then they all add up. It'll all go into the same pot of money at the end. So I'll get from the treasurer to see what actually hit our accounts, like how much it gets wired in from the state. So we'll see how much actually came in. So. Thank you.
Next up is some request for one-day liquor license. First up is the Melody Maker.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the one-day wine and malt license for Melody Maker Vendor Fair on September 28th, 2025.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 5-0. Next up is the Clinton Athletic Booster Association.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the Clinton Athletic Booster Association's request for a one-day wine and malt liquor license in conjunction with their fundraising event taking place at Clinton Town Hall on November 29th, 2025.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 5-0. Next up is Town Hall use with the Worcester Youth Orchestra. There's the lettering.
I can speak to it.
They did this last year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can say
there's
it's done
some-
it before. Third year.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the Worcester Youth Orchestra's request for the use of Town Hall Auditorium for a performance on November 9th, 2025.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. Okay, next up for old and new business, Old Home Day street closures.
Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion requesting the road closure for Church Street, Walnut Street, and Union Street in conjunction with the 25th Annual Old Home Day event taking place on September 5th and September 6th. Specifically Church Street for the hours of, I don't know if we can do it like in the early morning. When I talked to Callahan, I know I'm going off on this, but Callahan Tent Rental was saying like he plans to set up at 6:30 a.m. So last year there were some vehicles out there, so I don't know if,
This is Friday, 6:30 a.m.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
So if Chief Point could put something out Thursday notifying that there's no parking, and then Church Street close from whatever that time is until Saturday evening. I'm gonna remove the motion. for
Okay.
Putting this together because
So
Well, how about
Thursday night?
I'll make a motion that we close, Church, Walnut, and Union Street. Well, you don't want to do Walnut, or Union, you just want Church.
just church
Church,
for that.
Okay,
Yeah.
from Thursday at 6 until, Saturday, 6.
Sure. Perfect.
Second.
Okay. And then there's another one though for
Yeah, well,
the other ones. We'll start with that one
Let's
first.
start-
Yeah, okay.
Vote on that
All
first.
right. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And
And then next.
Madam Chairman, we want Walnut Street just for Saturday.
Walnut Street would be, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually, Walnut Street, we start Friday and Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Madam Chairman, I move that we do Walnut Street, from 6. I don't want to do that.
Let's say,
Yeah.
how about like noon?
Noon, okay, noon on Friday until Saturday at 6.
Perfect.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And Madam Chairman, I move that Union Street, we do from 10 a.m. on Saturday until 6.
Yeah.
You need that on
Yeah, that
Saturday,
sounds good.
right?
Yeah, that sounds good.
10 a.m. until, because you don't start till
Like
10.
the-
Oh, yes.
People,
So
the drop-offs.
maybe we do like
How about 8
starting.
o'clock, 8 until 6,
Perfect.
from 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. on Saturday.
Perfect.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
If I don't do it on the, we need just to clarify the advance, petty cash advance.
Yes, so I was gonna do, so while we're there, so at our last meeting, there was an approval for the donation to the Old Home Day Fund.
Yeah.
And what I didn't realize is we needed action to have petty cash.
Yep.
So the request would be for $1,000 petty cash out of that donation.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, $1,000 of petty
Thank you.
cash out of the donation. Okay, next up, town administrator contract extension. You, Mark?
So on the, town administrators, some heated discussions. This is pretty straightforward. The only thing that changed on here, if you recall, the last amendment that the board did, Mr. Lord's term was, extended to, August of this year. So now we're just changing the term, it's extended to June 30th, 2026. The only other provision that changed under this amendment number 2 would be the termination rights of both parties. Under amendment number 1, it was just 14 days. It was such a short period. And under this amendment, it would be 30 days in either party. So those are the only 2 terms that are changing. The actual contract is being extended to June 30th, 26. Either party of the town and Mr. Ward can terminate on 30 days notice. No other changes. And so I have a second amendment here to Mr. Ward's contract. And ask him if the board is inclined to vote in favor of that, and then we can sign it tonight.
Madam Chair, based on the description by town council, I make a motion that we approve the contract extension for the town administrator to June 30th or whatever date is in there
With the stipulations that are in the,
with those 2 conditions.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 5-0. Thank you. Next up is license holders delinquent on taxes. I'd like to review compliance with the issuance of licenses to businesses that owe taxes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is mine. On June 18th, we talked about how a number of town license holders were delinquent on taxes, some for several years. I was just curious if how many of them were still delinquent, if they've been notified, and what the process is for rectifying or suspending licenses.
Yeah, just to, as an update, when the licenses are renewed every year, so back in December, our office works with the treasurer collector office. They give them a list of the licenses, treasurer collectors check off if there are any that are outstanding. Then when the issue, so whatever was issued was all cleared with the treasurer collector office. When the issue was brought up again a couple months ago, our office again checked with the treasurer's office, and they didn't find any that had been issued that were outstanding. So I then just this week got a new list from the treasurer, Mr. Aponte, and we're going through all the licenses again with that new list. It's the outstanding tax title. It's the FY24, and then anything as of FY25, where we just closed out this past fiscal year, June 30th. So we're going through all those lists with all the license lists. I gave a copy to the building department, so they're going to go through all their building permits with that list. And, you know, if we find any outstanding, I'll certainly report back to the board, but there isn't any specific licenses or properties that we know of as of right now. So we're just kind of cross-checking everything to try to see where we're at. So,
thank you.
Thank you. Next up is select board member on union bargaining team.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Please.
I've asked to have this discussion. For a long time, I've been a participant in many of the collective bargaining agreements for the school department. During my previous tenure on the board, I was appointed by the town administrator as the municipal rep to the school committee for all of their contract negotiations for probably 10 years. And as a member of the school committee, I'm on the subcommittee negotiating those contracts, which most of them have recently been concluded. Given the difficulty in reaching an agreement with one of our unions recently, I wanted to bring this forward as a concept to maybe try to break the stalemate. There's a lot of pros and cons to doing this. I realize that the structure for the Board of Selectmen has been for a long time that the town administrator, department head, and a representative from Merrick, the Labor Department, handles the direct negotiations and brings back and forth between the board and the subcommittee. There's there's a lot of risks and hazards and difficulties in having members of the board be part of the negotiations. One important one is that they are bound to vote in favor of anything that they agree to during negotiations. If one or two members of the Board of Selectmen are negotiating and they agree to something, when it comes back to this board, they are obligated to support it and vote in favor of it. It's very difficult sitting across the table from your employees who are, in most other circumstances, you're the cheerleader for the town, for the people who work for us, and to sit across from them and be difficult if you're representing the town's point of view with what's important in their pocket paychecks. It's not an easy thing to do, and it's easy to be manipulated into agreeing to things when you're sitting right across from your neighbor or your friend or somebody you have a personal relationship with. So it makes it more efficient to do it the way we're doing it. But I'd like to ask the board's support in trying to at least use this temporarily during the negotiations with the outstanding contract that we have and see if it makes a difference. That's my point of view.
Madam Chairman, if I think, I know Bill knows my position on this, and it always has been. Having been in private industry and been in many contracts for private industry and many years with government, and I know that our attorneys that we've had since I've been on the board will always advocate that they think it's a bad practice for someone from the Board of Selectmen to sit in the negotiating team. And I would agree with that wholeheartedly. And I think you yourself, Bill, brought up some issues. I think it's very difficult to be sitting there with the bargaining unit that you're trying to negotiate a contract for the townspeople. And it really does put a lot of pressure, I think, on the selectmen themselves. And I just am adamantly against it and always have been. So it's no secret, Bill, how I feel about it.
I know that.
That's my position. I think, and I know I've posed the question to our attorney, and he has voiced himself that he really does not feel that he would prefer to have a selectman sitting on the negotiating team. So I guess I would, obviously yield to the professional as well. But that's just my opinion. Thank you.
Madam Chair, this is something that I've been a strong supporter of since getting onto the select board and being involved with the union contract discussions. I think, as Mr. Conley mentioned, the school committee has been doing it all along, and a previous select board member, Mr. Deval, was also part of those negotiations between the school committee and the school unions. And one of the challenges that I see from this perspective of not having a select board member at the table observing is I think the information just doesn't seem to always, it's not always conveyed in a manner that is, like first person, right? So it's like so it's in a way, I'm not saying it's a telephone game type deal, but sometimes we don't get the whole entire picture of information, and not that I expect there to be a transcript that's verbatim, but I think to be able to get a perspective of where the union is at, to understand where the town's position is, and to be able to bring that back to the select board. I don't know if there's a possibility of having a non-voting position at the table.
There's not. So you have,
If you're part of the team, you agree to, you won't.
so for the school committee in that sense, right? So that school committee member that's on there, that school committee is like as you
two.
described, two school committee members. Okay, so, and that has to be that way?
I'm not sure.
Okay, because I just out of curiosity, because if there's apprehension that surrounds that, are there any alternatives to it? Because I still think that there's a lot of value in being able to observe the discussions at hand. So either way, I am fully supportive of a member being on all union discussions, and I have a feeling I know where this is going.
Oh, I don't know. Madam Chair, yeah, we've discussed this when Bill was off the board. I'm not going to rehash all the reasons I'm against it. I do think that the risk, hazard, and difficulties do not outweigh any positives here, especially if we're going to be pulling this out for one particular negotiation. It just seems to be setting a precedent that, union can just be difficult, and then they'll get a select board member to come in and maybe break the ice. So I think we pay our staff and our attorneys to do this job. And if we're not getting information from them, I think it's a communication issue and not an issue about us being doing a job that we're not trained to do. Sadly, I don't think our communication issues are limited to that, but that should be something we're focusing on instead, that we're not getting an accurate reporting of what's going on. I'm still opposed to this. And again, I understand the reasons why people want to be on it. If it does pass, it's just never going to be me, because I would never want to be in that position. I don't think it's something that, yep, I'm opposed.
I am opposed as well, for reasons Mary Rose stated and Sean stated as well. We have the staff to do it. I think there's probably room for improvement, but in general, I tend to agree with the opposition.
Well, I appreciate the board at least willing to consider it. I do believe it could be a good thing and done properly, but I understand the will of the committee.
Next up is personnel updates discussion. Just wanted to update this board. The HR manager, Michael, and myself met on Friday to discuss the path forward, primarily with first the executive assistant. HR has updated that job description, which hadn't been updated, I think, since 2017, and is planning to review it with the personnel board at their next meeting, which is September 9th, to get their no classification change, just I would say like a housekeeping update based on the changes that Michael and Ray made with job description. With the hopes that soon thereafter we can move forward and post for that position and get someone in there to assist Michael quickly. And then second, we discussed the assistant town administrator, and I think there's a differing of opinion as to the position stands on the classification chart. So with that difference of opinion, we thought it was best for Ray to do some research and hopefully conclude by September on what other towns how other towns are classifying their assistant town administrators, and also to aggregate some information on lake towns regarding their salaries. So that's where those two stand. So happy to answer any questions if anyone has any. Also want to mention to the treasurer collector, I think in a previous meeting, you had said that the consultant who is currently working was interested in continuing with that relationship. Is there a time frame in which that, I don't know if they're providing like a proposal,
Yeah, I
Is there
think
like
his
a-
board is open to that. I think he's ready to provide a proposal.
Okay.
And I've been talking to him about that, and I did say that, we would need more probably hours in the office, so he'd have to factor that in. And then to see when he comes up with that proposal, if it's within the budgeted money that's in there right now, because what's in the line item isn't what he's getting paid right now for what he's doing. So we'll see whether that's in line. But if the board is open to that, then we can have that fairly quickly for the board to review.
How long has he been in that position?
It's
A
since
year?
January,
January?
February
Okay.
of this year. Yeah, it just started this year.
Has he been able to just kind of like, I mean, has a lot of it been just getting up to speed and filling
Yeah.
the gaps, or is he?
Yeah, the big thing was reconciling, the year for 25, and now we're starting into 26. So the biggest bulk has been, really trying to pull together all the numbers and get all the reconciliations done for the accountant, for the audit, and for the bank, to make sure that everything is going on a month-to-month basis after that. So once he gets everything up to speed, because he came in halfway into the fiscal year, so he had to kind of catch up on that 6 months and then keep up with the next 6 months, and then he will have a monthly process. So then that will, for FY26, he'll then just do that on a regular basis. So getting acclimated to the office, finding out all accounts and all the duties and how we do things here in Clinton, plus doing all the account reconciliations. That's what's really been the bulk of the work since he's been here earlier this year.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, on that subject, can I make a motion that we request a formal proposal from the treasurer to continue his services going forward?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
5-0.
Madam Chairman, I did have a question for Sean.
Yeah.
Sean, do you have any update on, I know you lost your individual up in Sterling.
Oh, no, sorry, I do not. We,
So I was just
we had
wondering
some-
if you have any update.
I wish we did. We had some terrible technical problems with the email at our last meeting. We didn't have any hearings that were going to be agitated, I guess. So we were unable to meet last week. I know Kim was out of town, so I will check with her and give you a report for our next meeting. Thanks for asking.
Because he seemed like a really nice guy. I know it was.
Yeah, no, I mean,
opportunity for him.
To be clear, right, he had applied to graduate school
Right.
Prior to applying for this job, and funding wasn't there, he didn't think, and a new round of funding, I think, came in.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those positions that I think, frankly, we're going to get people on the way up or people on the way out, and that's fine. But the proof of concept is there, because it's night and day, just having somebody who can run the meeting, know everything that's going on, can make site visits during the day, has professional background at a relatively small cost to the town. The number of projects that can get held up in a committee like ours, where we only meet once a month, and it's volunteers, and you got to find a time when 3 people can do a site visit in the afternoon. It's not always possible. So I really thank Max for the short time he was here, and especially for showing that it is a position that can benefit the town. And again, thanks to the personnel board and to the, thanks, I don't think they help, but the finance committee, especially, for having faith in us, and this board too.
Would it be possible to get an update on the wheat project on High Street? Just to see where that stands, and if possible, if we can get the dollar amount of whatever the delta is in that project. It would
Yep.
be, it would be great to kind of get everybody at the table to understand what needs to happen, the likelihood of those things happening, and getting that project moving forward.
No, absolutely. I'll have Mr. Duffy put a report together. I know he's been very close to that project, so if they're still confident and everyone knows the timelines and they're confident they're gonna make it happen, but the town did commit a lot of money to that project, so. Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair,
Anything else?
under old new business,
Yep.
going forward, I'd like to bring up a couple of related items. One, updating our minutes from the last few meetings, updating the executive session meetings, minutes, and after that, starting a process of reviewing old executive session minutes for release if the reason for their existence no longer applies. So, and that takes a little bit of legwork, but I'd like to see us moving forward on that.
Anything else?
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Yes.
It's not old and new. I just wanted to thank John McNally and the Health Department. I was contacted embarrassingly several years ago by an abutter to the property formerly known as Scooby's on Main Street. As anybody who's driven down Main Street over the past few years knows, it's disgusting blight that's been terribly neglected by the property owner. Thanks to this abutter's persistence and the work of the Health Department, we finally, after failed attempt through the realtor and the property owner to hold them accountable, we went and got a court date, and that seemed to scare them out. They did do some brushwork and clear a lot of trash. It looks, I mean, I guess better is a relative term. There's unfortunately, I believe, a pack of raccoons that's living in there now. That's going to be difficult to get out. And there's, through the years of disuse and abuse, there's some overgrowth that is encroaching on the abutters. So we're working on further, remediation. I just wanted to thank John and his team for sticking with this, because it's been, obviously it takes a long time to deal with someone who won't be responsible for their property. And hopefully it can be sold and to somebody who will take care of it. I know the abutters are still looking for fairness, and you know, they've had to live next to this place for years. So thanks to John and his team for some small progress in a place that really needed it, and hopefully there's more to come.
Yes.
On that note, is there anything the town, are there any options for the town to enforce? You know, if that building is condemned and structurally unsafe, can the town do
I
anything?
thought about eminent domain.
Or the town could just declare it a public hazard. I'm not sure the legal process, and tear it down or clean it up or secure it and lien the property for the cost of.
There's holes in the roof. I mean, it's not salvageable.
Yeah.
This actually, you go into court, get the court orders to do that. I mean, it's a process.
I think that was the process we were going on, and hopefully that showed them that we're serious. But yeah, I mean, that's what it takes. They're willing to wait these things out. I don't understand.
I'll make a motion at the next meeting if it could be, because it just seems to be, it's gonna be this cycle of it's cleaned up.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yep.
within a year or two, but it doesn't do anything to address the surrounding neighborhood. And, you know, at this point, I can't, and not a developer by any stretch, I can't imagine someone's buying that property and renovating that building to like, you know.
Well, I know the sign was taken down, you know, the realty sign, like the for sale or whatever. So I was just curious if are they still actively looking for to sell that property, or? I mean, it'd be nice to know what the status is.
If it came down, it was recent.
I'm sorry?
If it came down, I think it was recent, because
Yeah.
when I popped in there a couple weeks ago, it was still up. And I know
Well, I think
Covered in brush.
when they did clean up the area, they took it down
It's fell down.
His brother.
because it hasn't been up now since they cleaned the
Oh, I
property
was
up.
gonna
So,
say, yeah.
I mean, I go by there every day and I haven't seen the sign.
Yeah.
So whether they just
Yeah.
took it down when they cleaned and they just didn't put it back up or.
Given up trying to figure out what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's mind-numbing.
Yeah, if it's gonna go to the next, the Board of Health will have to condemn it, or the building inspector would have to say it's, it's
Yeah.
unsafe, structurally, it's got issues, then we can take it to the next step. I haven't, other than knowing what I haven't been involved with, I only get involved with litigation for the fact I had some issues. But here, they got the official order they wanted, but I'll follow with John tomorrow and get a status.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So for our next meeting, we could possibly have an understanding of what the next step can be for us to get to the point of securing the property and cleaning it up. Not necessarily taking it by eminent domain. That would
No, I don't
take
know.
on it.
I don't know,
Right,
Brent.
right,
But
but
I know there's a process for us to go in there, tear the building down, clean it up, and secure the site, and it's
Do we build
another
on?
lien on the
Okay.
property.
I mean, under the Board of Health, under their statute, their governing statute, they have a lot of authority to do things just like that, but there's a process.
yeah,
Right.
John gets status.
Thank you.
thank you. I mean, it's been like that for
Mm.
half a decade. Half a
Long.
decade?
Mm.
Yeah, feels like a long time.
Take a walk back there. It's not pretty.
No, I did notice when,
And it smells bad.
yeah. Anything else with old and new business?
These are the baddest.
Scoobies. Okay, any committee reports?
We just have Old Home Day this Friday and Saturday. We put in a request to hold off on the rain on
Please.
Saturday, and hope to see everyone there. Information can be found on oldhomeday.com, OLDE homeday.com. Hope to see you there.
Now that was set up to celebrate the town's 150th birthday.
175. Well,
And now it's
150th, so it'll be
175, right?
Yep.
Nice job.
Yeah, the year of the 150th celebration, that was one of the.
That was
things
the,
that we,
no,
created. Yep.
175.
Mhm.
All right, any additional committee reports and otherwise community announcements, Old Home Day? Mentioned the library forum a couple times. I think that's it. All right. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to address. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.